Dion, we are not going to have to summon Carter Elliott tomorrow night to get his reaction to Jace Richardson going in the second round because Jace went in the first round. He listened to Izzo. He left. He went to the draft. Was a projected top like 12 pick for most of the season. It's amazing what happens when you get measured without shoes. I think this slide is way too much. Him falling all the way to pick 25 feels like a steal to me, but Jace was one of my favorite players to watch in the country this past year. I think the Magic got a good one here on a team that, even with Desmond Bain now in the fold, I think needs scorers. They need shot makers in the backcourt. And I think Jace will have a chance to get on the court early there. But what do you make of this selection? What do you make of the slide? Let's just get into it overall.
I think there's a bunch of stuff that can be true. That is all true. That when I say is going to make it, no one's going to believe that it all can be true. One, I think the slide makes sense. I do think the size is an issue. Point blank. We're talking about he measured what, 6 foot? Or was it 6'1"?
Six, I think it was right around 6'1" without shoes.
Yeah, but it was like slightly, it was like 6'3/4", or I want to say something like that. Like that, he's small. Like there's just no way around it, and he's an off guard, or at least that's what he showed at Michigan State. I'm not saying whether he could play point or the two. He might be able to play the point. We didn't get to see it enough at Michigan State for anyone to believe that's what the case is. So I think the slide makes sense. I also think Orlando's the perfect fit because of Jalen Suggs, because of Franz Wagner, because of Wendell Carter Jr., because of Paolo Banchero. There's one name I didn't mention though that makes this a terrible fit. That's Desmond Bain. So this roster is complete, and I don't know where he gets to play because when you look at the bench, there's also Anthony Black, former lottery pick. There's Jet Howard, former lottery pick. There's Caleb Houston or Houston. Is that how he wants it to be called?
Wait, is that a new thing? Is he rebranded to Caleb Houston?
I don't know.
I hope so. Caleb, if you hear this, rebrand to Caleb Houston. Listen.
A former first round pick. You know what I mean? Like this is a guard heavy team. Do I believe he's playing over Anthony Black year one? No, because
Yeah,
they need to figure out what is there with Anthony Black.
yeah.
Do I believe he's playing over Jet Howard year one? Maybe, maybe. Even then though, probably not. Because like they took Jet. Give me 1 second just to confirm. They took Jet 11th 2 years ago. He
Yeesh.
really hasn't played a ton in the two. He averaged 3 minutes his rookie year, 11 minutes last year, a combination of 63 games. At some point, you need to figure out what Jet Howard has, or you need to move off of him. So I think there's one. It's in all things can be true. The fall made sense. Orlando makes perfect sense. Also, might not be a spot for Jace year one either. So I mean, I don't know what happens with Jace next year. I definitely don't think you're gonna. If I had to set the over at 12 and a half minutes, I'm taking the under.
I think that you're onto something with that in terms of the under. I probably would as well, especially like you're looking at the slide happening for a reason. And G and Cart have talked about this a good bit with the state of the NBA. There's pretty much every team that made the playoffs in the East this year thinks they can get to the finals, and I would put Orlando squarely in that category. They are in win now mode. They are trying to maximize this window with both Franz and Paulo before they're like commanding most of the cap space. And when you look at that, I think there's a world where Jace can translate immediately and exceed expectations just like he did at Michigan State and maybe become a key bench guard and maybe and that would be in one sense that would be the path to minutes over Anthony Black, where if he's more ready and it doesn't matter what you have in Black long term. At the same time, Black is coming off a season where he averaged 9 points per game, and as much as I love Jace strikes me as someone who's going to score like 4 to 5 points a game his rookie year, and when that's his role, it's like yeah, Black probably is still edging you out in that one.
Well, you have to play Anthony Black. That's the thing. Is you just this is the issue with when you slide if you're Jace Richardson, right? And this is the problem is so like Anthony. First off, Anthony Black is 6'7", so that that definitely is going to play a role in this. But you have to play Anthony Black because of when you took him. You know what I mean? Like you took Anthony Black very early on in the draft. He was the sixth pick 2 years ago. You have to play this guy. You have to figure out what he has because that's why you took him sixth. Respectfully, when you take guys in the mid 20s, you don't need to figure out what they have. Somebody else can do that. And I don't think that's Jase Richardson's future, but what I do think his future is the same as it was at Michigan State. You have to force your way onto this court. Nothing's going to be handed to you. And you're going to go into the season with probably nothing. Like, I think realistically, that first game of the year, I'm sorry, Michigan State fans, you guys are going to be tapped in. You don't need to. I really don't think you need to because I think this is a team that's probably going to add a veteran guard again in free agency. They have the full MLE. I don't think they're done yet trades wise. It's like you said, the East is wide open. Love Jace Richardson. I've been a money bag Jace is what I called him. With how open the East is, if the Orlando Magic sit on their hands because they have Anthony Black, Jet Howard, Jace Richardson, I'm sorry, man. Somebody's getting fired. Somebody's getting fired because Halliburton's out, Tatum's out, Dame's out. Philly's a mess. New York wants to trade everybody. Nobody wants Cat. So like it's like it's right there for the taking for Orlando. If they sit on their hands because they said we took Jace 25, somebody's going to get fired.
Mhm.
And because I don't think they will sit on their hands, I don't think Jace plays right away. Do I think he could play his way onto the court? Absolutely. Absolutely. Jace is a guy, he just needs an opportunity. That's how talented he is. But that opportunity isn't there right away. He's going to have to go get it.
Yep, yep. I'm with you on that. I I wouldn't bet against it happening just because that's exactly what he did at Michigan State. This
Right.
time last year, we were debating whether or not Jace Richardson would start at Alabama because of some comments his father made that he'd be their best backcourt player or something like that. And yeah, I think Jace would have started on Alabama last year. Like when you
Yeah.
see what he did, and something I always go back to him in terms of what is his role. Can he be more of a point guard as opposed to just an undersized two who can do a little bit of facilitating? Every time I watch Michigan State, I was constantly impressed with his feel. It never felt like, even though he became the offensive alpha, it never felt like he forced it. It never felt like he took shots out of rhythm. And I thought he did a pretty good job making plays for others as well. Like much more than you would expect for someone of his archetype who, again, seemed like he was in there to get buckets. That is the sell to me, is that he becomes more of an actual point guard and can be the backup here, whether it's the Jalen Suggs or Anthony Black or something in between. I think Black, you can play either of those guys at the two if you want to and have some lineup flexibility there. Um, yeah, I think what I do like about this is the Magic are going in the right direction, and sometimes I think it is a little bit undervalued what just playing for a team that's winning, that's experiencing success, how that can positively impact a young player, as opposed to someone like going to the Nets, going to the Kings right now, where it's like, okay, I have this opportunity in front of me, but we suck. We stink. We lose every game by 20, especially when it gets into the thick of the season and teams are trying to blast us, you know? Like, that's the part of here where I like that he has a guy like Paulo that he has the superstar. He has Franz, who's the maybe not a superstar, but a great number two. Um, so yeah, that's the positive in all of this.
I think that's the age-old dilemma that we just watched Ace Bailey play out in front of us. Do you want to go to the Kings where you could just play?
Mhm.
And you're gonna lose, but you can just be out there and you can play, you can make mistakes. No one's really gonna watch. When you do things positive, everyone's gonna love you. When you do things negative, no one really notices because you're on the Kings or the Wizards or the Jazz or the Nets. Or do you want to go to Philly? Where it's like, hey man, every mistake is heightened because you're playing on ESPN, ABC, TNT. None of those channels anymore because the NBA did the whole TV deal thing, and I have no idea. NBC, Amazon Prime, wherever Adam Silver sold the rights to, you're going to be playing on national TV in front of a lot of people who are judging every single move you make. It's tough, man. Like I don't know what the answer is. I know he's going to an Orlando team where he has to fight tooth and nail for every minute he's going to get instead of going to, like, we're talking about Walter Clayton going to Utah and being able to play. You can't tell me Walter Clayton's better than Jace, man. Like,
Mhm.
you can't tell me that. Jace is a better player than Walter Clayton and is a better NBA prospect than Walter Clayton. But he's in Orlando. I don't know that he's going to play.
Yeah, it's really well said. Tough path for minutes ahead. I wouldn't bet against them carving out a role as a rookie. Oh man, maybe I would. When you look at how good Jet Howard was in the Big Ten and like scored a point less than 2 points per game his rookie year, maybe it plays out similarly for Jace. I can't let go of the love for Moneybag Jace. We want the best for him. Just know to the green and white, we are on your side in this. We want him to succeed. it's just going to be an uphill climb, but hopefully long term it works out for Jace.